Shalom, coming in the spirit and power of Yahweh, Bahashem, Yahweh Shai, Bahashem, Rachakadash. Double honors to the apostles of Great Millstone and to the hopeful alike, pushing his word in truth and sincerity across the four corners of the earth. This lesson, I actually don't know the title for the lesson, but nonetheless, just want to go into two articles I saw while scrolling on RT News. And I mentioned before that people don't even realize the Most High is gathering those nations right now against Babylon. People don't understand. They don't even see what's going on. So I'm just going to read the article, the scriptures I want to go into. I just typed in Medes. Right. Let's see. You know what? Yeah, we could just read this whole chapter. Isaiah 13:1. The burden of Babylon, which Isaiah the son of Amoz did see. Lift ye up a banner upon a high mountain, exalt the voice unto them, shake the hand, right? Right? And lifting up the banner is exalting upon a high mountain, exalting the voice unto them, we shake the hand, right? Right? Is us going in the highways and byways, videos, we're exalting the voice, right, on the high mountain, this high government, right? About what they're doing, who they are, the wicked, right? And the nobles is the wicked elite, right? I have commanded my sanctified ones, which are the elect. I have also called my mighty ones for mine anger, right? Which are the ones going to do his bidding, right? Even them that rejoice in my highness, right? So the angels, he's calling the angels, the elect, everybody, right? The noise of a multitude in the mountains, like as of a great people, a tumultuous noise of the kingdoms of nations gathered together. The Lord of hosts mustered the host of the battle. So, a tumultuous noise of the kingdoms of nations gathered together. Now, it's already happening. EU and U.S. sanction on Turkey show it is a NATO state in name only and will push Erdogan closer to Russia and China. Right, so Erdogan's from Turkey. I believe he's the Turkey prime president, and then you have Russia and China. So Russia and China are in hands together, right? Russia's against the U.S., China's against the U.S., right? And so is Iran, and I'm going to go into that too. But now Turkey's joining into it too. Turkey's joining into the mix too, right? Now I'm not going to read the whole article. The article's basically about sanctions that were put onto Turkey, right? Okay, we can read this. On the other, the White House is preparing a package of measures that target Ankara's defense industry, aiming to cripple its procurement of weaponry. This is in retaliation for it having purchased an S-400 missile defense system from Russia, despite its NATO commitments. So Turkey went out of its way to buy missiles from Russia, even though they have some commitments with NATO, which Babylon runs. Right? Regardless of those commitments, they still bought weaponry, which is considered a breach of critical threshold in a Turkey-U.S. relationship. So clearly, if Turkey is doing this, they don't care about that U.S. relationship at the end of the day because they bought from Russia, who is enemies of U.S., right? So what does that tell you? It tells you that they're siding with Russia, right? Because when things hit the fan, they're going to be with Russia. They're not going to be with the U.S. Because if they're really with the U.S., they would have followed those rules. They would have trusted in the U.S. that the U.S. is going to hold up the end of their bargain, right? And, follow the rules. And they know the U.S. are not going to follow the rules, which is why they bought those missiles from Russia, right? Okay. Let's gonna find something else. Okay, right there. And I believe Ankara is. I'm not sure if he's the president, because the president is a Rodagan is the president. Maybe the Ankara is a general. I don't really know. I didn't go that far into researching him. But this is also interesting. While disputes between Turkey and Greece are nothing new, the broader standoff with the EU, the US, and sanctions within the NATO alliance itself constitute a new low. So the most, they're not the Most High. Well, yeah, the Most High is breaking apart that relationship, that group, right? Because the US is losing control. In such a geopolitical climate, this is likely to result in Ankara fostering closer ties with Beijing. So I actually don't know who Ankara is. Maybe it says it up here. Okay, you know what? Let me just do a quick search. Ankara. Turkey. Oh, it's the capital of Turkey. Okay, well, I just learned something new. Okay. So they're now getting closer ties with China, Beijing, which is funny. Remember, didn't they just have it set up earlier that they had U.S. a relationship with the U.S., but now they're getting closer ties, pushing closer ties to China, who China is in league with Russia, which Russia are the Medes, right? And if you go in the scriptures, Lord of hosts mustered the hosts of the battle. Verse 5, they come from a far country, from the end of heaven, even the Lord, Yahweh, and the weapons of his indignation to destroy the whole land, which would mean those missiles. Howl ye for the day, also the chariots are going to come too. Howl ye, for the day of the Lord, Yahweh, is at hand. It shall come as a destruction from the Almighty. Okay, so I just want to get to the part, right, because it talks about the missiles hitting. And actually, you know what? Let me just keep reading. Therefore shall all hands be faint, and every man's heart shall melt, and they shall be afraid. Pangs and sorrows shall take hold of them. They shall be in pain as a woman that travaileth. They shall be amazed one at another. Their faces shall be as flames. Yeah, because when this happens, when these missiles fire, everyone's going to be shocked. Like, holy smokes. People are going to die. You know, catch those flames that fire. Destruction from the Almighty. Everything's going to be made desolate because of those ICBM missiles. You know. Behold, the day of the Lord cometh, cruel both with wrath and fierce anger, to lay the land desolate, and he shall destroy the sinners thereof out of it. For the stars of heaven and the constellations thereof shall not give their light. The sun shall be darkened in his going forth, and the moon shall not cause her light to shine, because the sky's going to be dark because of that clouds, you know, from the smoke. And I will punish the world for their evil, and the wicked for their iniquity, and I will cause the arrogancy of the proud to cease, and I will lay low the haughtiness of the terrible. I will make a man more precious than fine gold, even a man than the gold wedge of Ophir. And that's talking about the elect. Because during those days, those times, which are coming soon, right, there's going to be chaos. There's going to be race wars, civil wars, killing in the streets, you know, women being ravished. You know, people going to their neighbor's house, breaking in, doing whatever, right? So if you don't have, actually, let me just go, so I don't want to lose the spot here. Isaiah 33:6, and wisdom and knowledge shall be the stability of thy times, and strength of the salvation. The fear of the Lord is his treasure, right? So during those times of Jacob's trouble, right, and during these wars and civil wars and everything, if you don't have the wisdom and knowledge, you're not going to be stable in those times. You're not going to be grounded. You're going to get caught up in the wind, right, of emotions that's going to be going on the planet, right? So, yeah, you're not going to be able to make it if you don't have that. And the Most High is the only one, Yahweh Hashem Yahushai is the only one that's going to be able to bestow that on you and keep it on you. Right? So I just want to... Okay, here we go. Verse 17. Yeah. We're almost there. Let's just keep reading. Therefore, I will shake the heavens, and the earth shall remove out of her place in the wrath of the Lord of hosts, and in the day of his fierce anger. And it shall be as a chased roe, and as a sheep that no man taketh up. They shall every man turn to his own people, and flee every one into his own land. So that's people leaving Babylon, going to their own countries. Because you can see what's happening. They're like, I can't stay here. I need to go back home. This place is done. This place is finished. Everyone that is found shall be thrust through, killed. Everyone that is joined unto them shall be fall by the sword, killed, basically, destroyed. Their children also shall be dashed to pieces before their eyes, right? So a lot of children are going to die, right? Their houses shall be spoiled. So a lot of houses are going to be taken. People are going to go into houses and take stuff and break things, just like the purge. And their wives ravished. Yeah, a lot of women are going to be ravished during those times. Right? Behold, I will stir up the Medes, is the point. Behold, I will stir up the Medes against them. Right? Who against who? The Babylon. Right? That's what it's referring to in the beginning. Right? The burden of Babylon. So the Medes are the Russians against them, which shall not regard silver. And as for gold, they shall not delight in it. So they're not going to be bought with any type of money. They don't care. Because the Most High is going to stir up that anger within them. He's going to put his spirit on them to do what he needs them to do. Okay? Their bows also shall dash the young men to pieces. Yeah, it's the bows, whether it's the missiles, which really is the missiles, but you also have weapons, guns, but the main bow is the missiles. Right? Those ICBM missiles. It's just going to destroy them. Right? And they shall have no pity on the fruit of the womb. Yeah, they're not going to have pity of anyone that's pregnant, right? That has a child, right? They don't care. Their eyes shall not spare children. Yeah, they're not going to spare any children. And Babylon, the glory of kingdoms, the beauty of the Chaldees, excellency, shall be as when Yahweh overthrew Sodom and Gomorrah. Yeah, it's going to be the same way when Most High threw Sodom and Gomorrah. It's going to be worse, though. It shall never be inhabited. Neither shall it be dwelt in from generation to generation, right? So that's not that. So I'm going to just go back and type this again. A lot faster. So now we're going to go back to the article. There's more information here. I'm just picking and choosing what to speak on because there's a lot of stuff in here. Okay, wow. Okay, let's read. Yeah, okay, let's read this. How so? While the Syria crisis has been a source of tension and forging closer ties with Moscow, Turkey breached one of the sacred rules of the U.S. military-industrial complex racket. Wow. Thou shalt not buy equipment from a non-NATO state. See, they're trying to sound like the Most High, saying thou. Right? But that's one of the rules. So Russia is a non-NATO state, so they bought weapons from them. So they're basically telling you, like, look, we're not with you guys. We don't care about your rules. That's what they're saying in Babylon, U.S. Uttered, it has doubled down on the purchase of the, I believe it's uttered, it has doubled down the purchase of the Russian S-400 system and brushed off Donald Trump's threats. They don't care about America. They don't care about the threats. They're not afraid of them anymore. Because the Most High is putting his spirit on these nations. Putting his spirit on them. He's like, you don't care about Babylon. They need to go down. They're all angry because they've been drinking out of that cup. The standoffs with the U.S. president have already seen Turkish lira take a pounding. But now formal sanctions are on the way, designed to force Ankara's dependency on U.S. weapon purchases by preventing their defense industry from doing business with anyone else. That's probably not going to work. On this note, Turkey is now effectively a NATO state in name only. So only in name. It is a country locked in an alliance that effectively has different geopolitical standing, yet it would be wrong to assume that Ankara is about to quit NATO. About to leave. Or for that matter, Washington would consider booting it out. Yeah. Either way, they're going to leave. Right? They're going to join the other nations against Babylon. Right? So this is happening around the world, and a lot of people are not even aware. Still, things are not about to improve anytime soon. In fact, the situation is likely to get worse. While Trump opposes Turkey from a standalone point of view of American military interests, he takes little interest in Erdogan's domestic politics. Yeah, of course, because he doesn't care about their politics. He only cares about what they want, and what they want is them to put down their weapon system, because the weapon system is a threat to them. Because they know, the U.S. know how wicked they are. And they know at any time these nations can turn on them. So they want to have control over these nations and say, no, you can't be building weapons. We'll protect you. We'll take care of you when something bad happens. Right? We don't want you building your own weapons, though, to protect yourself. We'll do it. Don't worry. We'll take care of you. These nations are finally getting sense, and they're like, no, we're going to build our own weapons because we don't trust you. Right? And that's the reason why they're building their weapons, because they don't trust America. They don't trust the states. Right? And all the nations are slowly gathering together against the Babylon. Right? And America's getting nervous. Right? They're ready to go to war. Yeah, of course they don't care about domestic politics. It has nothing to do with them. On the other hand, the probable incoming president, Joe Biden, will incorporate Trump's objections and, from a liberal standpoint, oppose Erdogan's growing authoritarianism. Yeah, that was it. Authoritarianism. Two, Slovakia. One of those tricky words. This is likely to lead Turkey to hedge against growing alienation from the West by consolidating closer ties with Russia and China. Right? And Russia's already in league with the Persians, right? Which are the Iranians. So that's another part of to this whole circle that's growing. With it becoming increasingly dependent on Beijing for trade and investment, Erdogan has already turned towards China to acquire COVID-19 vaccines. And the first freight train traveling from Turkey to China under the Belt and Road Initiative started its journey last week. That was like a run-on sentence that he had there. Oh, so like you can see that, right? Okay, and I'll read this at the end. Turkey will ultimately continue antagonizing NATO while using it to its own benefit, but at the same time continue to forge closer ties with powers more sympathetic to Erdogan's politics. Brussels and Washington's loss stands to be Beijing and Moscow's gain. Yo, is this like things are the Most High is doing this, and these are all scriptures, right? Because I read this. Jeremiah 51 and 11. If there's anything up here. Right? Make bright the arrows, gather the shields. The Lord Yahweh hath raised up the spirit of the kings of the Medes, for his device is against Babylon, to destroy it. because it is the vengeance of the Lord Yahweh, the vengeance of his temple, right? Set up a standard upon the walls of Babylon. Make the watch strong. Set up the watchmen. Prepare the ambushes. For the Lord hath both devised and done that which he spake against the inhabitants of Babylon. Right? O thou that dwells upon many waters, abundant in treasures, thine end is come, and the measure of thy covetousness. The Lord of hosts hath sworn by himself, saying, surely I will fill thee with men as with caterpillars, and they shall lift up a shout against thee. Right? So the Most High he's building that nation, the congregation of nations against Babylon. If you can't see it, and Most High's not dealing with you. There's one more. So I just want to go back to this, show you this. Not negotiable. Rouhani rules out putting Iran's missile program on the table, says Biden, well aware of Tehran's stance. You notice that these Americans constantly want to take people out, these nations' missile programs out. Anything that has to do with weapons, they don't want them to build weapons. So it's like, oh, you can't be building weapons, blah, 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 da, 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 da. Because they're nervous. They're scared. Because if these nations are building weapons, they know they're going to come against you because you guys are wicked. Right? You have nothing to hide. You shouldn't be nervous. You shouldn't be scared. Right? But they know they're going to use these weapons against them. Right? So they're getting very nervous. Now, this article is a short one, so I can just read this one. What just happened? Iranian President Hassan Rouhani said on Monday that his country will not negotiate its missile program and that Joe Biden well knows Tehran already rejected U.S. plans to add the issue to the nuclear talks. Now, if you've been watching the news, there was already an attack on their nuclear program where Israeli killed one of their scientists, right? And they claimed that the scientist was creating weapons of mass destruction. Whether that was true or not, because let's say he was creating weapons of mass destruction for Iran. Iran doesn't care because they're against everyone else. Anyways, they're against Israel and they're against America. They don't trust them. So they want their own weapons so they can defend themselves, right? Because they don't trust those countries. And let's say it wasn't true. Then that was just a setup, right, for someone to fan the flames to cause a conflict to happen. So nonetheless, the conflict's going to happen anyways, right? Whether we know that guy was actually who they say he was. And that's what he was actually doing. As it says, the Most High said he's going to send fanners. Jeremiah 51:2, and I will send unto Babylon fanners that shall fan her and shall empty her land, for in the day of trouble they shall be against her round about. Right? If you know what a fanner is, when you have a flame and a fire, you fan the flame, you feed it oxygen so the flame can grow and get bigger. Right? So you're going to send people that are going to instigate things, start conflicts. Right? And that's already happening. Right? So I'll keep reading. Projected U.S. President-elect Biden may try to return to the 2015 nuclear deal between Tehran and world powers before wider talks that could include Iran's ballistic missiles. But Rouhani said on Monday that Tehran will not accept any preconditions. So they said they're not accepting anything. And he talks about their missile program. It's not even on the table. He also noted that he has not heard from Biden that the U.S. would seek another deal with Iran if it is to return to its commitments within the 2015 nuclear accord or the Joint Commission of the Joint Comprehensive Plan of Action, the JCPOA is not negotiable. Whether all parties implement the deal we already have or no one implements it, Rouhani said. Missile and regional issues have nothing to do with the JCPOA. The Americans argued for months to include Iran's missiles in the negotiations, and we rejected it. Or they tried to raise regional issues, but we didn't agree. So they're not budget. Trump was unaware of these talks, but Biden well knows what has been raised in the 2015 negotiations. Rouhani noted these are not negotiable. What's on the table is that all parties return to their commitments. They say don't even talk about our weapons. Rouhani also said that Iran has suffered huge damage because of U.S. sanctions in the past 3 years, but Tehran will not use the issue of compensation as a precondition in any talks. Iran to take any opportunity to lift Washington sanctions after U.S. election, President Rouhani. President Donald Trump unilaterally withdrew the U.S. from the Iran nuclear pact in 2018, reimposing a range of sanctions on the country. But Biden hasn't proposed offering Iran a credible path back to diplomacy. Tehran had earlier ruled out halting its missile program or changing its regional policy. So they said they're not halting, they're not changing anything. And remember, Iran's with Russia, and Russia's with China. And Iran's with China also. And now they have Turkey. So it's building. It's building. Jeremiah 51:28. Prepare against her the nations with the kingdom of the maids, the captains thereof, and the rulers, and all the rulers thereof, and all the land of his dominion. And the land shall tremble in sorrow, for every purpose of the Lord shall be performed against Babylon, to make the land of Babylon a desolation without inhabitant. Yeah, that desolation is going to happen with those missiles hit. Because when a nuclear holocaust, or not holocaust, a nuclear fallout comes, right, after the fire from the missiles, you can't inhabit the land. Like, the land's inhabitable. You can't grow anything because all the nuclear waste and nuclear radiation, right? So it's going to be desolate, right? So no one can live there. The mighty men of Babylon have forborne to fight. They have remained in their holds. Their might hath failed. They became as women. They have burned her dwelling places. Her bars are broken, right? Yeah, and that's it on that. I don't need to keep reading. You see the point. But the point is that you can see that the nations are building. It's just getting more and more. And more nations are building against Babylon. And because of the pride that the Most High put on Babylon, that spirit, they're not going to care. They're like, oh, you want to be against us? Okay, we'll take you all out. That's the spirit that America has. They think they're the best. They think they can go against everybody because of the military. But, I mean, if you have a whole army of nations against you, it doesn't matter how big your military is. That's more people. That's more nations, more missiles against you, right? The Most High's bows and arrows. So, right? So the point is that the prophecies are unfolding right in front of our eyes. So we just got to wait to keep praying. And, we're almost out of here. So like I said, I hope this lesson is edifying. I hope it was bringing you more awareness of what times we are in, where we are in the scriptures, because it's happening right before our eyes. And we're almost out of here. Like I said, close out by saying, Ka halal Yahweh, Bahashem Yahweh Shai, Bahashem Rakah Kadash. Double honors to the apostles of Great Millstone, and to the hopeful pushing his word in truth and sincerity across the four corners of the earth. Death and destruction to his wicked kingdom, and two-thirds as well. Kwam Yasharella, Abal Tabal, Shalom.